And you're all very welcome to this lesson. This is our third and final lesson on the area of sustainability and ethical consumer behaviour for Junior Cycle Business. So, for those of you that are only joining us today, in the first lesson we contextualised the idea of sustainability and ethical behaviour and made you guys, the students, think about what sort of consumer you currently are. Then in the last video, we looked at many of the different key terms and definitions that would be used in the idea of sustainability and ethical consumer behaviour and what each of these actually mean. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals and what the purpose of them are. We're basically going to apply a lot of the knowledge we've already had. We're going to look at being an ethical consumer and how you can now change your habits to be a more ethical consumer. We're going to look at then a project that on various organisations that engage in sustainable and ethical behaviour to further and deepen your understanding of this topic area. So the first thing I'm going to look at here is the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the definition I've given you here is they are agreed goals of the United Nations, members around the world, to end poverty, protect the planet and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So let's give you a bit of background about them. Originally, the United Nations is a gathering of countries from all over the world. They originally set a thing called the Millennium Development Goals, which last from 2000 to 2015. These were reasonably successful, some more successful than others naturally enough, and after it was completed in 2015, it was agreed to continue on with these goals, and more goals were made to further the good work of the Millennium Development Goals, and in other cases to develop areas that hadn't been addressed in the Millennium Development Goals. So these Sustainable Development Goals last from 2015 to 2030. As you can see at the image at the bottom of the screen, there are 17 separate different goals. Within each of these different goals, there's sets of targets and actions that are to be achieved. Why not now take a moment to go and look up online and Google the Sustainable Development Goals and have a read into some of the different main goals and see what's been achieved and see what progress has been achieved so far. When you're finished, come back to the video and we'll continue on with the lesson. So, now, assuming that you've gone off and looked them up and now you're back for some more. So now I want you to think about is how you can be more of an ethical consumer. Now, let's think about this. We learned what an ethical consumer was in the last video, but just in case you've forgotten, let's break it down. A consumer, as we know, is someone who buys goods and services for their own use and not for resale. The idea of ethics or ethical behaviour is having a moral sense of knowing what's right and what's wrong. So if you're being an ethical consumer, it means you're buying things on the basis that you think that there's been good practice used in the production of that good. For example, was child labour used in making the product, or were the workers treated properly and fairly? Or you might think of it from an environmental point of view. Is it right that this good was transported from halfway around the world when it could have easily been produced in the next village instead? So I want you to think about how you, going forward, can change your buying patterns and your behaviour to be a more ethical consumer. Pause the video and have a think about that, jot down a few ideas, and then when you're finished, play the video and we'll continue on. So, ways you can be a more ethical consumer. It's not an exhaustive list or a complete list, these are just some ways you could. You could ask more questions. These questions could be, for example, where was the product you're about to buy is made? What is it made of? How are the workers who made it being treated? You could support more sustainable businesses. So businesses that go about promoting being sustainable, you could choose to buy their products over businesses that choose not to be sustainable. You could use the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. I'm sure you've heard them all before. So you reduce the amount of products you buy to what you only actually really need, as opposed to wasteful items you never actually are going to use. You could reuse old items. So, for example, if you buy clothes for a night out for a disco, doesn't mean you can only use them once and you have to throw them away. There's no harm in reusing them again at another social event in the future. And of course, you can recycle by putting stuff into the green bin or the compost bin, or dropping things down to your local recycling centre for them to be reused. Consider the end of disposal. What we mean by end of disposal is when you are finished with a good and it's completely used its purpose, what becomes of it then? Does it have to go to landfill? Or can it be broken down like a computer, say, and some of its parts be used again in future products? Last thing is to shop local where possible. There's a couple of reasons for that. When you shop in a local business, it's more likely that that business is going to reinvest their money into your local area. That means your local sports clubs and organisations are able to benefit from this through sponsorship. Also, local businesses are more likely to purchase goods from local suppliers. That means the environment's doing better off because instead of products being imported in from faraway countries, which is damaging to the environment, it may be sourced more locally instead. So now, on to the fun part. Here are the guidelines for your project on this chapter. What I'd like you to do is I want you to create a project showing how each of the following acts in a sustainable way. So I'm going to give you some organisations here now and some web links to them. So fair trade. I'm sure you've all heard of fair trade before, be it fair trade bananas, fair trade coffee, fair trade chocolate. There's more information on the website there at www.fairtrade.ie. And there you can learn how the fair trade system operates. There's a wide range of resources, videos and articles there that can tell you all about them. Innocent drinks. I'm sure we've all had an innocent smoothie before. Can't beat a strawberry and banana innocent smoothie. In fact, kind of craving one right now. Anyway, back on topic. If you go to www.innocentdrinks.ie, you'll find that Innocent Drinks actually behave in an extremely sustainable and ethical manner. They have a whole section on the website dedicated to showing how they act in a sustainable and environmental way. Go on the website and have a look at the videos and the links and articles that they have explaining all about it. Recreate is a centre in North County Dublin that gathers up old unused items or items that could be recycled and finds creative ways of reusing them. Go onto the website and have a look at some of the wonderful projects that they're engaging in right now. Lastly, the Sustainable Development Goals. Already in this lesson, you've gone off and researched and had a look at a couple of the development goals that are on their websites. There's a website you can look up there which has details about all the different goals. I want you to pick one goal and I want you to go into it in focus and show how it'll make the world a more sustainable and ethical place. Now, for each of these 4 above, I want you to do at least 3 slides. One explaining what they do or who they are, and the other 2 is explain how they are sustainable or ethical based on what you've learned in this chapter so far and what you learned from researching their website. Now, there's a number of different ways you can complete this project. I'd like to complete it using digital technology. You could create it in a slideshow, so that's using like a Microsoft PowerPoint that I'm using here now, Google Slides or Apple Keynote. You could create a YouTube video if you want, just like the way I have here. You can use Powtoon. If you go to powtoon.com, you'll see a range of different examples of Powtoons that you could do. You can use an interactive mind map, for example, using one of the many different online mind map providers. Coggle.it is just one example. You could create a poster on Canva. Canva.com provide a wide range of really fun, different professional looking templates that you can use to create a really cool poster on this. You can create a website on Wix. Very easily done. Wix also has a wide range of templates. All you have to do is log on and fill in your information, your content. Or you can make a collection of TikToks, possibly get TikTok famous by ending up on the For You page, but let's be realistic about it. It is a business project at the end of the day. So, basically, I don't mind what sort of technology you use, but try and make it a bit of a digital technology project as well. Now, in the guidelines, I said I wanted 3 slides for each organisation. Now, if you're not using a slideshow, obviously you're not going to have 3 slides on each organisation, but I want you to have an equivalent length of information for whichever platform or way you choose to do it. For example, if you're deciding to use TikTok, 1 slide would be about the same as 1 TikTok. So I'd be expecting at least 12 TikToks, if not an introduction and concluding one as well. On top of that, the other thing as well, most of the different platforms I've shown you in the websites I've shown you above have free options and paid options. There is absolutely no need for you to spend any money on any of the paid options for the paid features. The free features on each of the above websites are absolutely fine and more than sufficient for what you need for this project. Now, onto the marking scheme. There are going to be 2 main areas that I'm looking for marks in this. 1, the quality of your content and your research that is applied, and 2, how creative you use digital media. Sorry, apologies, my screen seemed to crash there for some reason. So, that's the main details on the project anyway. Teachers, if you want a copy of the marking scheme, just drop a comment below and I'll send it on to you, no bother at all. So, just a quick recap on what we've done there. So we looked at the Sustainable Development Goals, how you can be an ethical consumer, and we went through the details for the project, which allows you guys to do a bit of your own self-inquiry on the matter. That, as I said, folks, brings us to the end of this chapter on sustainability and ethical consumer behaviour. If you have any questions on this video or this chapter as a whole, please drop a comment down in the, comment section down below, and I'll do my best to answer or help you in any way, shape or form. If you have any chapter or any area of the Junior Cycle Business course or anything else relating to business or economics that you have any questions on or want a video on, just ask away in the comments and I will be happy to help. Otherwise, folks, if you like the video, give it a like and, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. You know the stuff, the usual, yada, yada, yada. Thanks very much for watching, folks. See you all again. Bye now.